Hello and welcome to the Ice Guys, brought to you by the Hockey Podcast Network. This is the show that takes you into the world of the National Hockey League. Every game, every day, from a sports betting perspective. With pro handicappers Alex B. Smith and veteran sports writer Jimmy Murphy. And now, here's your host, Ian Cameron.
Welcome to the Ice Guys, presented by the Hockey Podcast Network. Thursday, January 13th, Ian Cameron, Jimmy Murphy, and the returning, and man, are we happy to see him? Are we happy to have him back or what? Alex B. Smith, it's been a while. It's been too long. Alex, we'll start by welcoming you back. You've been missed by not only Jimmy, Andrew, me, the entire viewing and listening audience. The entire Ice Guys family has been missing you these last few weeks. Happy New Year. Again, one more time, condolences from everyone with the passing of your dad, and hope the family is doing well. And more than anything, we're just excited to have you back with us and being able to talk hockey with you daily.
Yeah, it's great to be back. I'm finally back here in my apartment in St. Paul. I'd basically been gone for mostly 3 months in Chicago. For those who, I think everybody here knows, but like I said, my dad had been ill for a while. He finally passed on Christmas Eve at the age of 84. So we've been going through that and, going through all the different steps and so forth, moving on from that. So I want to say thanks to everybody who's reached out to me, either text me or send me a DM, email, or call. It's really meant a lot. So I definitely want to say thanks to everybody who reached out. It means a lot to me and my mom and the rest of my family. So definitely appreciate that.
Yeah, very well. Everyone had your back. Everyone was supporting you and giving you well wishes and regards during obviously a very difficult time. Difficult time times two, because I know Brian Blessing was a friend of yours, Alex, as well as mine. And to lose Brian as well was very, very heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching. Someone that's been talked to, and I had only talked and spoken to Brian and been with him in Vegas a few times, but everybody that worked with Brian Blessing, a great person and a big loss as well. So it's been tough these last few weeks, no question about that. But it is great to have you back here, Alex, on the Ice Guys again. Everyone's sending you the DM. Every time I hear that DM, it reminds me, it goes down in the DM, that song. It definitely is. And all the kind words definitely are, I'm sure, via the DM, appreciated certainly by Alex B. Smith. Great to have Alex back on the show. Jimmy, great to have you with us again as always today. How are you doing? How about that Bruins game last night? Because we'll just briefly talk about it. Usually Thursdays we park the discussion about last night because it's such a big card. But briefly about that Bruins game, they took it to Montreal, who are still depleted. But you know what shocked me, Jimmy? What the hell was going on with the anger and the vitriol between those two teams, and the likes of Eric Howla and Laurent Dauphin and some of these players getting into it physically and dropping their gloves? It was kind of bizarro world last night at TD Garden in terms of just how much animosity was drummed up between players on certain teams you wouldn't necessarily expect that kind of stuff from.
Well, it's interesting because before the game, when Bruce Cassidy spoke, I just asked him, I forget how I phrased it. Basically, I was asking him a question of, do you look at this, Bruce, as a coach? I imagine sometimes games like this are dangerous because you have a team coming in, their season's done, they got nothing really to play for except for jobs for next year. And right away, he goes, yeah, well, that's enough right there to worry about. And he starts to talk about it. He goes, let's not forget, Jimmy, this is the Canadiens Bruins. This is the best rivalry in hockey, one of the best in sports. And I don't care where they are in the standings. Anytime these two teams meet, they get up for each other. So I think that's what we saw there. And I think more so on the Montreal side, where, they're basically out of it from the hop there in that game. And they're just going through this nightmare season. They got to play now. They back-to-back going to Chicago tonight. And I think that maybe they decided to say, hey, let's spice up this rivalry again. Let's get into it. Maybe that will get our emotions going, then hopefully lead to some goals. So I think they were just trying to get the physicality to lead to more offense and just wake them up. And you got to remember as well, they haven't played since New Year's Day. So I think they were just trying to get themselves back in the swing of it. And sometimes that's what players do. They do it through physicality.
Absolutely. It was just very, very interesting. There was definitely some bad blood developing. The Bruins.
Marchand got away with one on Suzuki. I was just looking at that hit again on Twitter, and I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but he came down and Suzuki had dished the puck off along the boards, and he was kind of – and Marchand just came in, and, I mean, it was a good 3 seconds. He didn't have the puck, and he went high on him, but, no recourse today from the Department of Player Safety, but I wonder what they'll do about the headbutt from Chris Weidman.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be interesting. I would think that's going to just going to get a hearing, obviously, and it's just a question of, are we going to get supplemental discipline handed out? There's a very good chance that does happen. We'll get right into today's card now. We have 11 games, so let's get right to it.
And by the way, guys, they did tweet it. He has a hearing today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's going to get something, no doubt. The fact that there's a hearing, I think, is basically.
Doesn't that mean isn't that 5 games already if it's a hearing usually? Like on average, the minimum of 5 games.
It has to be an in-person hearing.
Yeah.
Just a phone hearing. It's just.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, what this one is. So, yeah, definitely a potential, at least still, for a potential suspension here for Chris Weidman for that last night. We'll see if, on Chris Weidman, rather. We'll see if that ends up being the case. Columbus and Carolina, first game on this Thursday card. We've got Carolina minus 270. Home favorites here, total 6, shaded to the over in this one. We've got the Blue Jackets, of course, definitely slumping. 2-6 in their last 8 games. The only wins were a shootout win against Nashville, a 4-3 win against New Jersey, and the second of the back-to-back against the Devils. Certainly have struggled in every other game, though, recently. Vancouver, Edmonton, Carolina, Tampa Bay, Chicago. They've definitely been struggling. Most of those against very good teams. I think they're going to have some trouble here. The one thing that I do want to remind you guys of is the last time Columbus played Carolina, it was that stunning turn of events where they're up 4-0. Carolina gets 7 unanswered goals in that game to erase the deficit and win 7-4. So there might be an onus on Columbus really, really trying to redeem themselves following that win. I just don't know if they're good enough right now. And I don't know if I love the prospects of their chances tonight against a Carolina team coming off an overtime loss to Florida, 4-3, been very good in a bounce-back type of situation. Now, there is one concerning injury here for the Carolina Hurricanes, and that's Jacob Slavin. He's an outstanding defenseman. We know that. Good, moving the puck from defense to offense, and really good defensively. One of their best, in terms of defending in their own zone. He's one of the best they've got. Consistently one of their leading players, defensemen or forwards, in terms of blocked shots as well. And they're going to miss him certainly in this game a little bit going into it. I've been riding the Columbus team over the total lately. It's certainly played out that way. The last 9 games, they're 7-1-1 to the over, the Columbus Blue Jackets. Carolina's even gone over 5 of the last 6. I like over 6 here in this game. The side, I think Carolina wins, but I'm not going to lay a 270 price with them. Columbus too. Remember, the last time they played Carolina was that 7-goal outburst when they had a 4-0 lead. So I think Columbus will bring it here, and I think Columbus will find the back of the net at least a couple of times. The one thing they have been able to do is score some goals when you look at it. And they're going to get Alexander Tessier back. Jacob Voracek is on COVID protocol, which is unfortunate, but they're going to get Alex Tessier back from COVID protocol, and he's expected to return to the lineup tonight. He's a guy that was playing well before his latest 4-game absence. He had goals in back-to-back games. He had 3 points in the last 2 games that he played. Was really starting to crank it up for the Jackets. So I think his return for the Jackets will help them offensively. And I certainly think Carolina is good for 3-4 goals minimum tonight. We know the Jackets have been hemorrhaging goals in bunches lately. So I like over 6 here, minus 120. Alex, it's great to be able to throw a game at you for the first time in a while. What do you think here, Columbus, Carolina?
Well, it's the perfect game to throw at me considering what I like here, and it's the first period over. It's been red hot with Columbus, 15-2 the last 17 games, including a 10-1 run. Didn't look like it was going to get there the other night when they played the Hawks, but they got the first goal about midway through, and the Hawks equalized it late. So end up cashing that one. You're laying about $1.45, $1.50. So at this point, I would probably tell you to wait to get a better price in game. I grabbed it at $1.45 this morning. And it just makes total sense. I actually thought that we might even see it 2. Possibly we could see some 2s pop up with this if they keep cashing. So we're going to just kind of take the value of the number rather than the value of the price. And Carolina is the kind of team that can capitalize early and often off of what we've been seeing, a lot of sloppy rebounds from both goalies with Columbus lately. It's one thing to give up rebounds and they go wide and teams are able to reset, but you're giving up rebounds right back into high danger areas. That's disastrous, especially for a team that has the firepower like Carolina. So if you see a 2 pop up at a plus price, I wouldn't shy away from that either. I think we could see about 3 or 4 goals from both teams in this game. I think Columbus will bring a better effort, but ultimately I feel like Carolina will get the win here. But Over for the full game makes sense as well, but I like the first period over a little bit more.
All right, liking that first period over. Jackets and Hurricanes can find that about -145, -150. You got to lay a little juice, but consider the fact Columbus is on this torrid first period over streak. It may be a price worth laying when you look at it that way. Jimmy, what do you think here? Jackets, Canes.
Yeah, I'm right there with you guys. Again, it is a little higher in the price there, but I love that first period over in this game. I also like Texier to come back. He's out of COVID protocol now and would play. I like him on a goal scoring prop as well. He gets some pretty good value. He was really cranking him in before he went into protocol, and he's been one of their better players for the Blue Jackets. So those are my 2 plays for this game.
Yeah, no question about that. He's been good. Tessier, I think these the one to look at maybe for Jackets if you want to look at some value, because I do think the absence of Slavin will be felt a little bit by the Hurricanes, who actually haven't been locking it down quite as well defensively the last few games. And remember, they gave up 4 to Columbus the last time they played them. Gustav Nyquist, Red Wing for a long time. He's been in the league a while. He's with Columbus now. He's got 3 goals in the last 5 games for the Columbus Blue Jackets, and he's in that +300, +350 range for anytime goal scorer tonight. So Gus Nyquist for the Jackets might be one with some value here tonight.
It's funny you bring him up, Ian, because I was watching a Wings game the other night, and I was texting with one of my buddies, who's a big Wings fan. He lives out in LA, and we were both like, "Wait, Nyquist is still in the league?" For some reason, we were both convinced he retired. I don't know why. It just was in my head. I had this mental block that Nyquist had retired, and I was like, "What am I in a time warp? What the hell's going on here?"
No, not quite, but you're right. He's kind of like dropped off the radar just a little bit. He's been, he's been bounced around a bit. He obviously hasn't been quite up in the lineup at times here with the Blue Jackets.
He was a rookie on that 2008 Cup team, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he was.
I'm sure that's when he got called up.
Yeah, he's been in the league for a very long time, and I think you were one of those Babcock teams way back when. 100%, because I think that is when he started. Yeah, 2008 Detroit Red Wings, and
there you go.
That's when he's actually, was he there yet? No, he wasn't. Actually. 2011, 2012 was his first year with the Red Wings. So, but still, he's been in the NHL for pretty much a decade right now. Red Wings and the Sharks briefly, and now with
another Swedish find by the Detroit Red Wings.
Yep,
no doubt. All right, we got Tampa, rather, -230, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. Vancouver Canucks, 8-2 under Bruce Boudreau, but this is the road trip that's going to be the ultimate test, right? They play in Florida, they're playing Tampa, they're playing Carolina. A lot of times when teams go on the road, they play the Lightning, the Panthers, and the Hurricanes in consecutive games, and that's always going to be the teams that really are going to the road trip that's really going to test you. Now for Vancouver, it was a double whammy the other night, because not only are they playing a very good Florida team that's lighting the lamp right now and scoring goals in bunches, but they played them on a 10-day layoff. The Canucks hadn't played since New Year's Day, so made things very, very difficult. The Vancouver Canucks against that Florida Panthers team. Bruce Boudreau talking, they just had to iron out the kinks. There's a lot of sloppiness with the puck, a lot of mistakes being made, the kind you make when you haven't played in a while. I'd expect them to be better here tonight against Tampa. Lightning have won 3 of 4. Give them credit. They beat Columbus, Calgary 4-1, beat up Buffalo 6-1, and a brutal night for the Sabres. We'll get to them later. Lost both goalies in that game to injury. So that was a rough night for the Buffalo Sabres in terms of in between the pipes. Tampa got it done there. Tampa, though, again, losing Andre Palat tonight. Not that, they can't withstand that. We know they've got incredible depth up front. But still, Andre Palat missing tonight, out for the Tampa Bay Lightning for this game tonight. A guy that had actually been playing very well. Goals in 4 straight games and 5 goals in the last 4 games for Andre Palat prior to missing tonight. So he'll be missed a little bit. I'm going to take a small flyer here, small shot on Vancouver, actually, at the price being offered here. Plus 210 is what you can get with the Canucks here. I expect them to be a little bit sharper. Again, having that game under their belt should help them just a little bit. And when you look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, there's no doubt they have played well lately. But when you look at Vancouver, still a team that's 8 of their last 10 they've won. Maybe they're going to be a Calgary in that maybe they're just not ready to beat these teams. That is the thought in the back of my mind, because we just saw Calgary roll through Florida, Tampa, and Carolina, and they ended up going home 0-3. They didn't win, and they just were not ready for these elite level Eastern Conference teams. But I think Vancouver's got a puncher's chance tonight, and that's all I need at a price range like this, getting plus 210. So I'll have a small bet here. Vancouver plus 210 tonight against Tampa Bay. Alex, Canucks, Lightning.
Yeah, I mean, this is like I said, this is a big test for Vancouver, because you look at, so they were on the hot run right at the beginning, like I said, the kind of honeymoon period, if you will, for Boudreaux. Now they're starting to lose 2 of the 3, going on this kind of a tough road trip, and they're catching Tampa Bay at a time where they're kind of an up and down team. They either have really big wins like we saw against Buffalo or Columbus last week, or then they have some terrible losses like they did against Florida before the new year. And either way, you're seeing, track meets going, one way or the other. The only thing I'm gonna look at here would be the over. It opened at 6 and then dropped to 5.5, and now we're seeing it back to 6 at some shops. So definitely try and grab a 5.5. But I think if only laying $1.15, $1.20, I think that's a really good price here for the over. I think we see it goes back and forth. Vancouver will have a spirited effort, but that's still might not be enough if Tampa Bay's offense is rolling like it was against Buffalo the other night.
All right, so like an over 5.5, I would certainly lean that way anytime you see 5.5 here, especially with in any game right now. When you see a 5.5, you almost have to kind of look back and take notice, because certainly we've seen the goals flying in left and right since the Christmas break ended. It's been a pretty high-scoring league for the most part for the last couple of weeks, so I wouldn't argue with that one bit. If I were to play the total, I would certainly look over 5.5 as well. Jimmy, what do you think? Vancouver, Tampa.
Well, speaking of 5.5s and over unders here, I just noticed the Bruins Flyers is changing in a lot of places right now. So if you can still get a 5.5, and I saw it at 5.5 earlier, if you can still get that, I would jump on it. I got a good feel. I'll get to that later, but I have a good feeling on the under in that one. As for this one, I'm doing the old first period over and the total over, guys. See a lot of goals in this game. And it's interesting. I like where you're thinking with Vancouver, Ian, but they're not going to get going until Pettersson gets going. I mean, it's enough is enough with him. I was listening to some people on radio today talking about the Canucks, and you wonder where they're at with their patience with him. I think they've been more than patient. They've given him a long enough leash. He's going to deliver. I wonder if all of a sudden he's on the NHL trade market. So interesting to watch him in the next few games.
Yeah, and in a situation where Bruce Boudreau's, pushed a lot of right buttons so far. He's gotten Brock Besser going. JT Miller's played better, really well since Bruce Boudreau's gone there. Brock Besser started to light the lamp and find the back of the net routinely. We're waiting on Pettersson. You're absolutely right. He has not been – he's the one Vancouver player that even during this 8-2 streak since the coaching change, he has not really cranked it into high gear and played at the level we know he's capable of. We just haven't seen it yet from him.
Maybe watch him, because if he does snap out of it, like you like to do when those guys get out of those slumps, just ride him for a few games if he does it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it looked like he was starting to get going a little bit. He had a goal in back-to-back games at December 12th and 14th. And since then, 5 consecutive games without a goal and only 2 points during that span. And you need more production from a guy of that caliber who is expected to be one of your focal offensive production players, Elias Pettersson. Just haven't seen it consistently from him. And it really hasn't been that big uptick since Boudreau's taken over behind the bench. We got Andrew McInnis with us now on the show. Andrew, welcome in. What do you think here with this game, Vancouver and Tampa Bay?
The boys are back. The band's back together.
Good Everybody's here. It's great
the
to
fresh
see.
haircut. So good to be here. Yeah, first game. Look, first period over. I really hope that you guys touched on it. I can hope that Alex definitely touched on it for us with Columbus. I mean, Columbus, Carolina, that first period over is just unbelievable. And I don't care. It's getting juiced up. I almost wish, Alex, you didn't get semi-famous from that first period trend, because then we wouldn't have to be dealing with these minus 140s all the time, But,
I know, right?
But hey, you brought it to attention to a lot of people, and I'm betting them. I don't bet all of them, but I bet some of these first period overs. I'm on that with Columbus, Carolina. And I'll tell you guys, I'm not a huge coaches quotes guy, because some coaches, they are just so wired to just, they are very good at speaking, I guess, what people want to hear. And the Columbus coaching staff, it was kind of weird. They almost said like they were sort of satisfied with their game against Chicago. And I get it. Sometimes the scoreboard does not reflect what happened. But to me, it's different in sports like hockey versus basketball. If Steph Curry had 5 open 3-point jump shots that nobody was really near him and he missed, Steve Kerr would say, you know what? Keep shooting them. But in hockey, if you're going 0 for 3 on a power play in just one period and you got like 2 shots on that entire power plays combined, I don't know. If I'm a coach, I shouldn't be too happy about that. So I think Carolina puck line's in play. I think Carolina is just a better team overall. They take care of things defensively and they got a solid goaltender. So I like the over in that game first period, but I do lean towards the Carolina side, whether it's regulation or puck line. As for the next game, we all know the Bruce Boudreau tour of that unbelievable streak for them definitely had a little bit to do with scheduling, but it was still great. And now it's that back-to-back, well, not back-to-back, but back-to-back games in the Sunshine State. We know how horrible those can be for people. It's an Andrew pass, not a Jimmy pass, Andrew pass for this one, because it's going to be a game that I'm curious to see how Vancouver plays in. I'm staying away.
All right, Philadelphia, Boston. We've got the Bruins minus 260 home favorite, 6 the total, shaded to the under. Of course, it's going to be an exciting night. A lot of people excited to see Tuukka Rask back with the Bruins, and this will be his first start returning and rejoining the Boston Bruins. So interesting to see how that goes. Carter Hart already confirmed in net, by the way, for the Philadelphia Flyers. Flyers should get some reinforcements, it looks like, tonight. Travis Konechny is going to be available. Claude Giroux, there was some doubt for him about his status, but he's going to play tonight as well for the Philadelphia Flyers. So some good news there. Still missing a few key contributors, including, of course, none bigger than Sean Couturier, still out for the Philadelphia Flyers. And on the blue line, Rasmus Ristolainen remains out. That actually may be a good thing from a penalty standpoint, because he takes some bonehead, undisciplined penalties sometimes for the Flyers. But nevertheless, he'll be out for the Flyers tonight as well. We'll see how this one goes. Boston obviously took care of business against the depleted Montreal Canadiens last night. It was a more chippy game than we expected from those two teams for sure. Back-to-back for them. Philadelphia certainly the rest advantage. This is just a game I'd rather probably sit back and watch more than bet here. Who knows how Tuukka Rask's going to play, but I do know the Bruins are probably going to want to play a good, tidier game. Like, we know they have struggled at times defensively this year. There's no question. Jimmy's talked about it much of the season. So have I. They have had times where they've had difficulty defending throughout the course of the season, but they look like they're starting to play a little bit better in their own end. The Washington win was good. The Tampa performance defensively was good. Last night, they kept Montreal in check for the most part, other than a goal by Michael Pezzetta, who, by the way, deserves to be on that team, I think, full time. His work ethic and his compete level every night for the Canadiens. They need guys like that. He's been very solid in that regard for them. It's very interesting to see what we get from Boston here. I'm sure Boston's going to want to win. I think they probably will win this game. Not like the Flyers are playing great. I'm probably going to just sit back and watch this one. Pass for me with the Flyers and Bruins. Alex, what do you think here, Philly-Boston?
I don't know what it is, but for some reason I feel like whenever these two teams play, I always wait and have in-game wagers. And I've done pretty well with them over the years, but there just seems to be with this particular matchup for some reason is kind of always a wait and see kind of feel. No matter how good or bad either team's doing, it just seems like, Jimmy kind of alluded to it earlier with the Boston and Montreal, obviously that being a humongous rivalry, so kind of spice things up. But these two teams, they kind of always, they get a little chippy at times. We see, where it's been a lot of penalty-filled contests, a lot of power play opportunities for both teams. And sometimes we've seen these go over the total. Like I said, we don't know what we're going to get from Tuukka Rask. Obviously, being at home, that should be a big thing. I'm sure the fans are going to be giving him a big standing ovation, having him back. And, everybody, I'm sure excited for his return. But, it's been a while, and coming off of a significant injury and being an older guy, you just don't really know what you're going to get. You got Carter Hart on the road on the flip side. So I would lean with the over, and I would look to hopefully Philly maybe gets a goal early and get a better adjusted price on Boston to come back. But I'm more likely just going to stick with live wagers for this game.
All right, looking at a live betting opportunity, Alex, for this one. And obviously, priority number one for the Flyers, try to contain specifically Pasternak and Marchand right now. Both of those guys are playing outstanding for the Boston Bruins. And look, they're going and the Bruins are going. It's simple as that. How many times have we said that for sure? Jimmy, what do you think here, Flyers, Bruins?
Well, I'll say don't sleep on the laser. Curtis Lazar with a 2-goal night. He's got 3 goals in his last 4 games.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, maybe a fun prop there. You probably get some great value on. I haven't even bothered to check yet, but What I think, I mean, the Bruins are just rolling right now, and the Flyers just got to go in there and, like you said, stay within their system. Don't let the Bruins dictate them. Don't let them spread you out. You look at the way the Bruins have been so successful going up the middle and just getting to the net and really having a presence there. I mean, last night, I get all the issues that Montreal's dealing with, the injuries, the COVID protocol, the way the season's gone. But I'm sorry, there is no excuse for that. Maybe all the Marchand goals, but most of all, that first one. I don't know if you guys were watching the game, but the announcers did a great job of catching Marchand before he hopped over the boards, his eyes following the play there. And he's just looking like, I am going to just go to town on this. He had this look on his face like, I'm going right to the net. And I think he yelled it to, what's his name? Who passed it to him? Was it Holla? Who fed him the pass? And he just walks right in, right around the defenseman, untouched and right to the net, and boom. And it's like, that just can't happen in the NHL, guys. That's just horrible defense. So Philly better be careful of that right now, because he's just really exposing the opponent's defense. As far as this game goes, guys, I think with Tuukka net, I'm going to go on a limb here. I am going to bet on a shutout for Tuukka Rask tonight.
Wow.
What are the odds on that?
Is there a win? It's like a soccer bet, win to nil, right? Or something like that. Yeah. I think
I'm predicting it at least. If I can find, I'm going to bet on it. I think I love the under in this because of Tuukka Rask. And I like, it's not much value right now in taking the Bruins, but I will take the Bruins on the puck line.
There you go. All right. So definitely
2-0 Bruins. That's my prediction.
2-0 Bruins. I kind of feel like, for as much as we've talked about Boston's got their offense going, their defense has been suspect. This does feel at least like an under spot. And again, right now you're holding your heart in your throat with an under in the NHL at this point in time. But this is one of those nights where it could be that way with these two teams, and with Tuukka Rask being back, I think there's going to be an onus. Let's be tidy. Let's be strong and sturdy with our structure and our defensive zone coverage tonight. If you're Boston in Rask's return tonight. So that's definitely a theory that I think makes some sense here. Yeah, Alex, go ahead.
Oh, to say, you can get on DraftKings right now, you can get Boston to win via shutout plus 600.
There you go. Yeah. He's going to take that. I knew
Bruins and under 5.5 is plus 185. So if you want the Bruins and the under plus 185 combo, exact score 2-0 plus 4,000, 3-0 plus 2,500 or 25-1. So interesting. The 2-0 is actually very bold. That's very gutty. There's a reason why that's plus, that's 40-1. There's definitely a reason behind that.
Yeah, it's because you don't see 2-0 very often these days. Yeah, that's exactly why it's that price. You just don't see 2-0 scored. But I agree with that. I think it's going to be a sturdy, good, solid defensive game tonight for the Bruins, especially because I sense after the wild one that was the Montreal game last night, it could be a lower event game after everything we saw last night. So I like the value there on that, actually, the shutout plus 600. And again, Boston and under 5.5 plus 180. The 2-0 correct scores in that 40 to 50-1 range. So it's a lot of different ways to, even though you don't love the game in terms of the money line and the total, look what you can do. You can do combo bets. You can look at props. You can do all kinds of different things. And of course, DraftKings, one of those books here are great partners you can do that with. So absolutely other ways to attack it from a betting perspective. And we always try to mention those here on the show. Andrew, what do you like in this game?
Jimmy, I got to get your thoughts. I know this is a betting show, but I want to get your thoughts about the whole situation. Swayman, Rask, and Allmark. I mean, you've kind of told us before at the start of the year you were surprised they didn't pay somebody else lower than what they did with Allmark because Rask was probably going to come back and they've got Swayman in the future. I was kind of hoping that you would say something about my tweet yesterday. I was hoping you would have saw. I don't know if you saw my tweet, but I was kind of getting after Bruins fans because they were chanting, "We want Tuukka" in the middle of a game when Allmark has one goal against, and I thought that was kind of, I don't know, not really fair to the goalie in between the pipes. But Swayman makes the sacrifice; he's gone. Now Allmark's getting pretty much called to leave his net to allow Tuukka to back. Wait until 3 games in when Tuukka allows a 3.2 goals against average, and they're saying we want Allmark. I mean, what's going on with the fan base in Boston right now, Jimmy?
They're just spoiled and miserable. That's the problem. I said the same thing as you. I didn't like that at all. I get it, and I'm happy to finally see some excitement and appreciation for Rask. who's like the Rodney Dangerfield here of Boston sports. But
He's been criticized by so many, and now all of a sudden we're chanting and we're all excited to have him back. I mean,
it was really weird, and the timing was brutal. It wasn't a good look, I thought, for the Boston fans there. They need to practice their timing. They could have done that, I don't know, warm-ups maybe, or do it tonight in warm-ups, but it was bad timing. I agree with you. As far as what they did with Swayman, I mean, it was the only choice they had, right? I mean, he doesn't have to clear through waivers. Allmark does. Nobody's going to pick up Allmark in that contract, and what are you going to have all that money sitting down there? It's just,
how old is he?
I stand by what I said before the season. They shouldn't. I just didn't understand that move. He's proven me wrong. He's been really good. He's on a roll right now, but in terms of the long-term scenario, I didn't see the point of it. Why not just get like a Devin Dubnyk and just pay him?
Isn't he making like 5.5 or something like that? Allmark?
Dubnyk? Allmark plays. That's what I'm saying. Why not pay Dubnyk like 1.5 for the year, and then you're free and you slide Swayman in when Rask comes back. I don't know. It was interesting, but it is what it is.
But here's the thing, though. Is it to interject briefly? Is it Rask? Is he going to just play the rest of the season and then probably hang it up for good, or is he? Seemingly he's back.
He's only on the 1 year to the end of this year, and he said he's going to revisit it in the summer.
Okay. So I mean, they might just be, they're playing it safe by keeping, having a guy for the future, but let Rask at least, giving him the option of playing the season out. Still giving Swayman more reps in Providence before he called to quit. So it kind of,
I mean, I get where they're going.
Insurance. Yeah.
Jimmy,
I get
do
it.
you think
could have got insurance for cheaper and less years, and then gone out and got somebody maybe after Rask officially retires. Because that money's needed. That money could be valuable at the trade deadline that they don't have because of Allmark.
Would you say, Jimmy, that some players like that you've interviewed and spoken to, maybe they might not have told you directly, but you think they're more aware of what's going on and being said about them than others? Like some are better at blocking it out than others?
Yeah,
you think?
sure.
I mean, let's not forget when Rask left for a family problem when his daughter was unwell, people were like giving him criticizing him for leaving the bubble, and I feel like he probably won't forget that. So I don't know, but I think it's I like Rask, and Jimmy has made me like Rask even more because I'm not saying I tail every opinion you have about the Bruins, but some of the stuff you say to us makes me like certain things more. And it sounds like Rask. If
I was Rask, I wouldn't have signed with the Bruins. I would have gone to another team and come back and tortured them and tried to win a cup somewhere else and then say F you to the Bruins fans. That's what I would have done if I was him.
Yeah. Well, I think he's coming back for the team.
Yeah, he's coming back. He loves. He wants to win one more with Bergie and Marshy and all those guys.
Yeah, they've been together. They're like brothers, band of brothers at this point. They've been together for so long. I think that part of it, the camaraderie that they've got as a group, as a core that have been together for a decade plus. I think that's a big reason why Tuukka decided to come back. And Andrew asked the question to Jimmy. Do players, block out the criticism differently, or do they hear it more? Absolutely. Like Connor McDavid pretty much ignores it. He tries to stay really, really focused on everything that's going on. Whereas Kevin Durant, to use it, even though it's not hockey, it's NBA, he can't wait to say something to somebody that criticizes him on Twitter. He's always responding.
Well, he got caught having a burner account. He literally got caught.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
He got caught having a burner. But Austin Matthews, I think he cares. He says he doesn't care, but I think he does, because most people if you say you don't care like more than 5 times a year, then you probably do.
I'll just put it this way, guys. On more than one occasion, I've had the PR guy for the Bruins come to me and say, so-and-so didn't appreciate what you tweeted. Yeah. So they're full of shit that they don't watch or read.
They don't watch or care.
Is that tough for you, Jimmy? Like seeing them after hearing that, or it's just part of your job? Like you just.
No, I mean, I'll go to the guy and say, why don't you just come to me?
Yeah.
Right.
Apparently, and we talked about this earlier, they didn't like that Jimmy said something about the party that Jake DeBrusk was having, and sure enough, he got COVID-19 at that party, and he's now on the protocol.
I'm not saying I told you so. I haven't.
Well, once this show blows up even more, Jimmy, maybe one day you aren't even giving out picks on Bruins games anymore with us. Hopefully, you're still able to. But
yes,
look,
no, I will.
In this game, for me, I like the under, and it's not as much just about Rask coming back. It's, I just like Jimmy think that even though I'm a Habs fan, some of those goals weren't really goals against other teams. I mean, there were goals against the Montreal Canadiens. That last goal that thankfully pushed my total was a screen goal from the point, almost off someone's leg, trickled in. Those are good hockey type goals, but Marshy's hat trick, and what's it called? A natural hat trick, 3 straight goals. I mean, shorty, which is obviously nice, but yeah, shorthanded goal. It's very rare to see that sometimes. And then the first two were, at one point it was like 2 goals in 21 seconds or something like that. I mean, I think Philadelphia is better defensively than that. I mean, Montreal, I always say it takes 2 to tango. I'm just an idiot for not taking the puck line for the Bruins, for thinking that there'd be some letdown spot because they played the Caps and the Lightning prior to that. My favorite team didn't contribute to my over, and that's why I lost that play. I think the Bruins, they're playing well defensively. Not just Pasta and Marshy are getting going, but their defense, I think, is playing well too. So I'll take the under in this game, guys. And if there's a 2-0 score line in this game and none of us bet it, we might have to just bet it just because, or that combo bet. You know what? I'm going to give it out on the show, the combo bet right from DraftKings, under 5.5, and the Bruins at plus 185. I'll give that out. I think that's good value on that.
Yeah, it's definitely a plus 180 for a team like Boston. It's minus 280 in some spots as a favorite, minus 260 right now at DraftKings. So you turn a minus 260 with Boston into a plus 180 if they win, and as long as the game, of course, stays under 5.5, and we kind of think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring. So interesting to see. That is a good price if that comes to fruition, but certainly can't fault taking the price there that you can get with that. Bruins and under 5.5 at plus 180. All right, New Jersey Devils, New York Islanders. We got the Islanders minus 200, home favorites, 5.5 the total in this game. The Islanders, look, it's now or never for them. They definitely thought they were a playoff team coming into the year. They've got work to do. It's got to start now. And will they be able to keep it going? Now, they did have 2 straight wins following the Christmas break back-to-back against Edmonton and Buffalo, only to have another break and another pause. And now they haven't played in 12 days. New Year's Day is the last time we saw the Islanders in action with that 3-2 win against the Edmonton Oilers. New Jersey, they've actually been off for 4 days. I think they had 1 game postponed, but not as bad a break for them. They've had 4 days since their last game, which came against Columbus, a 4-3 loss in that one. We'll see how they fare here tonight in this game. The Devils certainly have had some personnel issues caused by the COVID protocol, and they have been absolutely gutted in terms of their goaltending position going into this game. So they are scrambling, to put it mildly, looking for answers in terms of their goaltending. Right now, tonight, there won't be any Mackenzie Blackwood. He's on protocol. Jonathan Bernier remains on IR. Even the young kid that got a start for the Devils as well recently, he's not available. Akira Schmid in terms of the goaltending position. So it's John Gillies, basically a journeyman who's been around the block, was with the Calgary organization previously. He is going to be in net tonight for the Devils. No confirmation for the Islanders yet. Sorokin, Ilya Sorokin projected, but not confirmed yet in net for the Islanders going into this game. I'm going to take a shot here, and normally I don't like betting this team over the total, but I'm going to do it here with the Devils and the Islanders at 5.5, minus 120, minus 125. New Jersey's just been a dead nuts over machine. Now, they do have some key personnel out. Nate Bastian's going to be out tonight. Jesper Bratt going to be out. Damon Severson on the blue line. Dougie Hamilton remains out for them. But still, you've got a lot of players that have been playing well lately offensively that are going to be on the ice tonight. Hughes has been good. Mercer's been good. Jimmy Vesey's stepped up lately. Nico Hischier has been solid in recent games. And it's hard to ignore that the New Jersey Devils enter this game having gone over the total in 11 straight on the road, believe it or not, going into this game. That's pretty hard to fathom. You just hope that the Islanders, as much as they are a solid, sturdy, sound defensive team that doesn't give up much, when's the one situation you could see the Islanders giving up some more chances and maybe be a little bit weaker defensively? A night like tonight when you're coming off a 12-day layoff, that's when. So I think the Islanders may not be that shutdown, airtight defensive team tonight, given the situation they're in, having been off since New Year's Day. So I'm going to go with the over 5.5, around minus 120, minus 125 here with the Devils and the Islanders. Alex, what do you think here, New Jersey, New York Islanders?
Yeah, same kind of thought process, but I'm going to stick with the first period over here. You still laying $1.20 with 1.5, and you said that layoff could come back to kind of bite them. You look at they said the goaltending issue with New Jersey. They're pretty much 2 calls away from getting Marty Brodeur back in net. It pretty much seems like there's just literally nothing. I think they said they're just going to sign a guy off the street to even back up Gillies tonight. From quotes I read. So if he goes down, who knows what the hell happens with this total. So it makes sense to look at a full game over. But I like the first period over here too. We've seen a goal in the first 10 minutes in 9 of the last 10 Devils games. And you mentioned the streak of 11 straight overs on the road. So it definitely feels like it could be a game where we see a couple of goals early. It doesn't mean it's going to be a super fast pace necessarily. So it could get to, over 5.5, over 6, but it might take some time. I think we see a couple of goals early and then things really pick up later on. So if it is kind of slow, you might even be able to get a better adjusted price for that full game over.
Third start of the season tonight for John Gillies, and he's given up 3 goals in each of the first 2 starts he had. So keep that in mind as well. And yeah, they are desperate to find someone to back him up tonight because Blackwood's out on protocol. So is Akira Schmid, who got, I believe, a start or 2 for the Devils. And of course, Bernier's been out due to injury on IR for a long time. So very, very thin goaltending wise for the New Jersey team. Might see the old emergency goalie potentially come out. That might be where they have to turn at this point. Maybe an emergency goalie situation to back up Gillies tonight for the Devils, but obviously very thin at that position. Jimmy, Islanders, Devils.
Yeah, I like the Islanders a lot. And this look, the Islanders know this is it for them. Pretty much you could say their season's over, but they still have a slight chance to get back in it. They've had all these setbacks, all this time off. I think they're going to come out like they're firing out of a cannon tonight. I would not want to be the New Jersey Devils tonight. I like the Islanders a lot. I'm going to take the puck line on them, and I'm going to do the over 3.5 goals at even money for the New York Islanders.
All right, that's the team total over 3.5 for the Islanders at +110, and also Islanders puck line, which you can get right now -1.5 +125 for the Islanders on the puck line. I think they should win too. I would certainly only look the Islanders from a side perspective, but I just worry about them defensively. And New Jersey can score. New Jersey, that's not been their issue, New Jersey. They've been scoring, and I think maybe they can find at least a couple of goals tonight here against this Islanders team. Might be a little shaky at the back end, haven't not played in 12 days. Andrew, what do you think here, Devils, Islanders?
Yeah, very similar to what you guys were saying about goals in bunches as far as teams that haven't played in a little while, and I think that trend is one that I can't ignore. There's a game going on later on tonight, in the later games that I like that a lot more. But even with a team like the Islanders, we know what style of hockey they preach and what they want to play, but can they execute that after not playing for a little while? I'm not so sure. Talk about a team that the scheduling wasn't kind to them this year. COVID wasn't kind to that team. I think they're going to get back to being the typical 3-1, 3-2 Islanders type team. It'll take some time. And I think that we'll see it settle in, but not tonight. So again, the first period over strikes again. I'll keep playing these. And the funny thing is, guys, you obviously don't want to see any teams deal with COVID protocol stuff. But when you see it, you're going to see these cancellations. And pretty much for the rest of the season, we're going to see longer extended rest opportunities than we'll ever see again. I mean, every time I think we're done seeing something like that, we've got 2 teams tonight that haven't played since January 1st. It's the 13th. I mean, these situations aren't going away anytime soon, it feels like.
All right, so liking potential for goals here as well, Andrew, in this one. Devils now is Mareks Mitens, who could get the call-up from Utica in the AHL, apparently, to back up John Gillies tonight for the New Jersey Devils. So, and we're talking about a guy that I think that's been even backing up, never mind backing up down in the AHL level. So that's how thin it is right now for the New Jersey
Never
Devils.
Heard of him in my entire life, so I don't know. I have nothing to say as far as the goalie chart.
He's not in your chart, Alex.
It's funny. Obviously, there's been a delay in updating the chart, but I've been watching stuff, throughout the whole time. I'm like, yeah, I got to add like a bunch of names to that goalie chart coming up. So,
and by the way, Ryan Pulock out again for the Islanders, and you talk about guys that matter as much, if not more, than anybody defensively in terms of shutdown play. Ryan Pulock is right up there. So that again could be. Allow the Devils maybe to get a little bit of offense going tonight. Winnipeg, Detroit. We've got Winnipeg -120 road favorites, 5.5, 6 the total in this game. The Winnipeg Jets again have had some time off as well, remember everything that's happened for them. They've had a few postponements. They haven't played in a full week. It was exactly a week ago today that they played, and they got absolutely demolished by the Colorado Avalanche 7-1. No real shame in that, other than the margin, because Colorado has been scoring goals in bunches lately. Detroit returning home from a 3-game Western road trip through California. They end up losing all 3 games to LA, Anaheim, and San Jose on that road trip, returning home now in this game. We'll see how they fare here against the Winnipeg Jets, and we'll see if the Jets can bounce back. In theory, this should be a bounce back spot here for the Winnipeg Jets, coming off just a brutal loss to the Colorado Avalanche, just in terms of just wasn't very pretty for them. I have a side and a total in this game. I'm going to, now that the price has gone down a little bit here on the Jets, I get it. They got a ton of key players out. There's no question. Paul Stastny, Blake Wheeler's been out for a while, but again, he's had a difficult season. Nikolai Ehlers out. Nathan Beaulieu on the blue line. Brendan Dillon out on the blue line. Ville Heinola as well. I mean, the blue line's really, really gutted. Center ice position has a couple of key absences too. Ehlers definitely will be missed. They've still probably got enough in terms of offense here. And remember, they're going to put the youngster, Cole Perfetti, now in the lineup for the Jets. And they have high hopes for him in terms of being a difference maker offensively, an elite scorer, elite finisher here in the National Hockey League for the Winnipeg Jets. I do have a small, because they're so banged up and beleaguered, I'm keeping it small, but we're still talking Winnipeg at -115 here at DraftKings over Detroit. I mean, Winnipeg is still better than Detroit. Detroit's struggling a little bit. Winnipeg, off the 7-1 loss, I'd expect them to want to have focus here to bounce back strong. And again, when you're focused against a weak team, you should be able to beat them, especially when you're the better team. So I lean to Winnipeg. A small bet on Winnipeg. I do like the over here as well at 5.5 here in this one. Again, we've got a situation where we have a team that's been off for a while, hasn't played in a week. And I think Winnipeg can find the back of the net here against the Detroit Red Wings. And on the flip side, can the Red Wings contribute to the scoreboard? Again, we're talking about a Winnipeg team. It's been off for a week, and you might see them struggle to keep the puck out of their own net. We've talked ad nauseum about Dave Lowry taking over as the interim coach. How they've wanted to play with a greater pace, really push the puck north-south, up and down the ice. That's been the way Winnipeg wants to play now since Lowry took over from Paul Maurice after he resigned. That's not going away anytime soon. Keep an eye on Larkin's status as well for Detroit. He's going to be a game-time decision for this game. We'll see how he feels right in the pregame skate, but a game-time decision with that upper body injury for the captain of the Red Wings, Dylan Larkin. But I still like small bet Winnipeg, a little bit bigger bet for me, over 5.5 here with the Jets and the Red Wings. Alex, Winnipeg, Detroit.
With this scheduling spot, obviously, like I said, the week off for Winnipeg, and then coming off of not only being an off for a week, but like I said, getting crushed 7-1. That certainly, I'm sure, left a bad taste in their mouths. But then they're playing a Wings team coming back off a 3-game road trip. They lost all 3 games. Only had a day off in between. I'm going to take a shot here with Winnipeg first period puck line, laying the half a goal at +180. Like I said, I maybe not want to trust them with a full 60-minute effort. They might falter down the stretch, but I think they come out with at least some good pace and, like you said, a good momentum early in the game, enough to get out of the first period with the lead. So that's what I would go with, the first period puck line for the Jets.
Yeah, and you know what? I understand Ehlers is obviously an enormous absence because he's been such a great player this year and last year, especially for the Winnipeg Jets. What a season he had. But you look at that lineup still, there's enough. I don't worry about them offensively, especially when you're playing a Red Wings team coming off a road trip. I could see them being shaky in their own end. It's a little bit of a fatigue spot for them coming off the road trip that they just had in California. Now, going back Eastern time zone, and I think only one day since the end of that road trip as well. So, and the Jets still have more than enough offensive weapons to do some damage here. You've still got Connor and Dubois and Mark Scheifele, and you're going to have Perfetti up on the top 6 forward group as well tonight for the Jets. I would be interested in Perfetti props. I don't think I've seen any yet because he's just been inserted into the lineup tonight for the first time. But boy, if there was ever an opportunity maybe to look at shot props or point props or to score a goal for Perfetti, this would be it, because they're throwing him right onto the top line tonight. Dave Lowry's not messing around. He's putting Cole Perfetti on the top line with Kyle Connor and Pierre-Luc Dubois tonight for the Winnipeg Jets. So opportunity knocks for the youngster, Cole Perfetti, for the Jets, who will be on the top line tonight. Jimmy, what do you think here, Winnipeg, Detroit?
Sorry, guys. Just turn on to some breaking news here. I don't know if you saw Weidman did get 1 game suspension. That just came over.
There you go. Yep.
And did you see what happened? The breaking news as well. Evander Kane suspended 21 games for the COVID violation.
Again?
Don't see it being
because he crossed the border with COVID.
Teams won't sign him this season because of that. If signed next year, likely low salary, his team would pay half of it for him to sit.
He's a moron.
Well, there goes that insane conversation about the Oilers picking him up in the next few days. Yeah, that ain't happening now.
Right. Yeah.
There we go. All right, Jimmy, what do you think here? Jets, Red Wings.
I'm liking the Jets guys a lot here. I agree with you. They probably had that sitting in the back of their head, how things went the last time they were out there. So I like the Winnipeg Jets on the puck line here, and also give me the team total over for the Winnipeg Jets.
All right, so Winnipeg puck line's a good price here, plus 190 for the minus 1.5 on the Jets, and Jimmy liking over 2.5 at minus 150 to minus 160 here with the Winnipeg team total. Again, only 2.5 with that here tonight, but you do have to lay a little bit of a price.
Andrew, guys, I apologize, but I got to run here because I got to write these stories up for 2 sites right now. So
no worries. What do you got for best bet though?
Best bet will actually be the one I just said. That team total over for the Winnipeg Jets.
There you go. Winnipeg team total over 2.5. He's a busy guy. He's writing for 2 sites.
Appreciate it. See you guys. Good to
see you, Jimmy. Take care, buddy.
Yep.
There he is, the one and only Jimmy Murphy. Busy as hell, as you can tell right now. Writing for Boston Hockey Now, Montreal Hockey Now. He's going to be writing for every damn team with the Hockey Now series of websites at this rate if he keeps it up. Andrew, Winnipeg, Detroit. What do you like?
Yeah, that must have been crazy for him last night, covering both sides of the game. Look, I'm actually right there with Jimmy. It's funny, funny enough. Like I get the team total with Winnipeg. That way, I kind of get to take Detroit out of the picture. Detroit to me has been so sporadic, guys. I'll admit, out of all the teams in the league, I probably have watched the least amount of Detroit games. I probably have watched more Arizona Coyotes games than I have Detroit Red Wings. But Detroit, the thing with them is that, some people love using the analytical stuff with expected goals and all that stuff. Would you guys agree that I say some of their best games, like play-wise, is when they end up scoring 1 or 2? Meaning that I feel like, last game for them against the Sharks, they could have had 4 or 5 goals. That game against the Sharks and the Wings, that was due to be a goal fest. And I think the final score was 3-2 in overtime, something like that. So they're so hard to read, and which is why I want to take them out of the picture a little bit offensively and just take that team total with Winnipeg here. And it's a good price as well. So, the money line's tempting as well, but I think I'll just stick with them to get 3 goals.
All right, so liking Winnipeg team total over 2.5, Andrew, with the Jets and the Red Wings. Seattle Kraken, St. Louis Blues. We've got St. Louis minus 180 to minus 190, home favorite, 6 the total, shaded to the under. And yeah, that is money coming in on Seattle here in this game. The prices come down a bit. There's a reason for that. St. Louis is beaten up, coming into this game. A lot of personnel issues here for the St. Louis Blues. David Perron is on COVID protocol. Braden Shen, they just got him back. He's back on COVID protocol for the St. Louis Blues, and so is Vladimir Tarasenko. And unfortunately for the Blues is that all these guys have been playing well lately for them. So very unfortunate bit of news for Craig Berube and his Blues team going into this game tonight. They'll have to make do without 3 pretty key forwards in Perron, Shen, and Tarasenko, not to mention Colton Parayko as well, one of their top 4 blue liners. He's actually tested positive for COVID-19, not only in protocol, but he actually tested positive. So he won't be available for the Blues tonight. So I was interested a little bit in St. Louis initially. Certainly I was, because how could you take Seattle? They're kind of struggling right now. They've struggled defensively, especially to keep the puck out of their own net. We've seen them lose 7 straight games, entering tonight. 5-2 loss to Dallas last night. Now in the second night of back-to-back games. So second of back-to-back on the road, which is not good. They're 1-4 this season on the second night of back-to-back games, the Kraken. So I was ready to maybe look towards St. Louis in regulation or St. Louis puck line, but the absences are probably going to keep me off it now and make this a pass for me when it's all said and done. I also want to note as well, Chris Drieger is going to start tonight for the Seattle Kraken, and to be honest with you, it's been actually the slightly better of the 2 goaltending options lately for the Seattle Kraken compared to Philip Grubauer. So keep an eye on that. It's an opportunity for him for a struggling team. It wouldn't totally shock me if he plays a solid game. Ville Husso, by the way, will be in net tonight for the St. Louis Blues, deciding to give, obviously, Jordan Binnington a little bit of a break here and a night off. Husso's numbers have been better lately, and in fact, he had a very good performance in his last game against Washington. 1 goal allowed in a 5-1 victory, .931 save percentage, 2.28 goals against average for Husso. So he's played pretty well. I still lean Blues, but I'm going to back off now with the personnel issues they're dealing with. Alex, what do you think here? Seattle, St. Louis.
Yeah, this is one of the games I have nothing on whatsoever, except not laying that kind of a price with St. Louis, even with the regulation price still be a bit steep. And can't back Seattle with the form they've been in as late, even though, like I said, Driedger has been the better goalie than Grubauer, but that's really not saying much. Both have been pretty bad this year, so it's a pass for me.
Yeah, and again, the Blues have been impenetrable lately at Enterprise Center in St. Louis. They're on a 12-game point streak at home, 11-0-1 in their last 12 home games, St. Louis. So tough to bet against them there, but I don't like the situation here with the absences that they're dealing with. And Parayko, don't underestimate him. Both ends of the ice, valuable, important blue liner, plays big minutes, plays in all situations. He'll be missed tonight, Parayko, for the Blues on that defense as well. Andrew, what do you think here? Kraken, Blues.
I'll tell you what, guys. I'm going to try and get the hashtag trending, Operation Fade the Kraken, but it might be on hold tonight. I don't think tonight's the night to do it. I think they could be live here tonight, but I'm going to stay off. I would like to look towards the under, though. Seattle's a team I've looked towards overs with quite often, but I think in this game they're going to want to shape things up after what happened yesterday, and I get it's a back-to-back, but I feel like they can do it against this team, and it's two teams that might surprise people for me taking the under with, but with some injuries, with some, quick turnarounds, I think we might see a lower scoring game in this one.
I wouldn't shock, but then again, this game I've got a tough time getting a read on it. I could see a shootout. I could see a low scoring game. I could see St. Louis winning. I could actually see Seattle really scaring St. Louis tonight as well, to be honest with you. So, and St. Louis does have a big, you're right. That's a great point. Rich in our chat saying in terms of schedule moving forward, you look at St. Louis, they've got Toronto and Nashville coming up. Those are much higher state games than tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe a little look ahead, a little flat spot here for the Blues potentially. That does concern me as well for endorsing the Blues tonight in this game. Buffalo and Nashville. This is not a great spot either for Nashville. They're coming off a huge home win against Colorado, and they're laying -340 here in this game against Buffalo, 6 being the total in this game. The Sabres have obviously struggled mightily. That goes without saying. They're coming off a 6-1 loss, drubbing at home at the hands of the Tampa Bay Lightning. But they are going to get some reinforcements, it looks like, back tonight. Remember, Alex Tuch ended up back on the COVID protocol list. He will at least return tonight for the Buffalo Sabres, so that's some good news there. He's cleared and should be recovered enough to play tonight for the Sabres, and they just finally got him back from injury, and they're going to have Alex Tuch back. I'd actually look at a Tuch goal scorer prop tonight. I like the full game over, but you know what I like even more? And in spite of the fact this could be a Nashville flat spot, it's Nashville team total over 3.5. I mean, you know who's in net. It's Aaron Dell. It's Farmer in the Dell, folks. It's a Farmer in the Dell day for us here on the Ice Guys show. And we know what we've done in those situations. We have somehow bet overs in terms of the full game or team totals over for the opponent against Aaron Dell when he's been in net for the Buffalo Sabres. The results don't lie. In 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of his last 4 of his last 5 starts, he has given up 4 goals or more. The last start, he gave up 5 in a 7-4 loss to the Florida Panthers. Now and plus, not only has he struggled this year with abominable numbers, 0-5, 4.51 goals against average, 872 save percentage. Not only has he struggled, he has not seen any time in a net in an NHL game since December the 4th. So he has gone basically over a month without seeing any time in an NHL game. So that is definitely something that's double trouble potentially for Aaron Dell tonight in this game. So smaller bet over 6, but I like the team total, honing in on Nashville even more. Predators over 3.5, -145. And let's give the Predators credit in terms of what they've done offensively lately. Yeah. They enter this contest having scored 4 goals or more in 4 of their last 5 games, including 3 straight games. So they are definitely feeling it at the offensive end right now. Alex, what do you think here, Sabres, Predators?
We already tweeted out the trash can. We're on there, basically going on the over first period. 1.5 minus $1.35, and the over 6. You find that at even money or even plus $1.05. It's Aaron Dell in that. That's pretty much how we're operating with it from here on out, and it's probably going to be him for a while now because of the mass amount of injuries and COVID issues in net for Buffalo. Craig Anderson, they're saying he won't be back anytime soon. They downgraded Subban. I think it said it's a month-to-month injury.
Yep.
So it's just getting really bad now. So Aaron Dell, not only is he the number one guy right now, but he seems to be the long-term number one guy. So we're probably going to be on a lot of Buffalo overs first period full game moving forward.
It's a disaster. It's an absolute unmitigated disaster with Buffalo's goaltending. If you thought New Jersey's was bad, and New Jersey's is bad, Buffalo's goaltending situation's worse. The veteran Craig Anderson's been out for a while. He ain't coming back anytime soon. He's still on IR. Same with Dustin Tokarski, who actually played well for a few games there.
Yep.
And now, of course, Subban out, and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, who's had some bright spots for the Sabres. Both of them got injured in the Tampa Bay game. It's month to month for Subban. It's week to week for Luukkonen. So it's Aaron Dell is the number one, and now they've called up Michael Hauser, who again has had the odd start here and there for Buffalo to back him up. So it is just, again, another team tough sledding with their goaltending right now. Andrew, Buffalo, Nashville.
I've been waiting for Nashville to come back to life for about 4 weeks. And I think that I'm a pretty stubborn person in real life. I try not to be a stubborn person when handicapping guys, but I guess I have been with this one team. But I don't think that that might be one future I can call a loser right now with that plus 270 on them to miss the playoffs, because I can guarantee you that price has gotten a lot better and a lot higher, I guess, since I bet that, unfortunately. But it's hard to argue a team total with the Nashville Predators tonight, or even the first period over. But I'm going to go with that team total, because even if Buffalo gives you something, I feel like Nashville is still going to get going and score themselves. So team total for Nashville, I'm right there with you. Not a play I've bet, but I do like it. Oh, you're muted.
Team total over 3.5 for Nashville for Andrew would be the way he would go in this one. Before we get to our next games, great time to remind you about DraftKings Sportsbook, official sports betting partner of the NFL and the NHL. But specifically today, as we've done all week, we're talking NFL, because this offer for new customers is splendid. It's absolutely terrific for NFL Wildcard Weekend to take advantage of it. NFL playoffs are here. DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL, is kicking things off with a huge offer. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56-1 odds on any wildcard team this weekend to win their game. Bet just $5 on it and win $280 in free bets if your team is victorious. If DraftKings Sportsbook isn't available in your state, you can still play for huge cash prizes with DraftKings daily fantasy football contests. DraftKings giving all new customers a free shot at millions of dollars in total prizes with their first deposit. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code THPN and get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code THPN this NFL wildcard weekend at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 years of age or older. Must reside in a DraftKings Sportsbook state. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. One per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Download the DraftKings app. Sign up for an account. Use the promo code THPN. On we go. Montreal, Chicago. Chicago minus 230. Home favorites. 5.5 the total in this one. Habs still gutted. Now they got a couple guys back last night from COVID protocol, but still missing Brendan Gallagher. Jake Allen got hurt last night. Horrible to see that for him. So their goaltending.
He was rushed back too early, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Rushed back. I know they're in a tough spot here, but now they're down to Montembeault and Caden Primo in this game tonight. That's not exactly great prospects whatsoever. Joel Edmondson's still out. Josh Anderson's still out. Paul Byron, a key two-way forward, out. Foley has been out for a while. Alexander Romanov may not play once again, although he's been at least upgraded to questionable, but still very shaky on his availability tonight. Back-to-back Chicago here, looking to all of a sudden, Chicago 2 wins in a row against Columbus the other night. And Alex, on Saturday, you weren't on the show, obviously, on Saturday, but I took them plus 210 in the Marc-Andre Fleury revenge game against Vegas. I said they're going to be up for that, and so is Fleury. And sure enough, they got the job done against the Vegas Golden Knights. So little win streak here for the Chicago Blackhawks. Still got a couple guys out. Of course, Tyler Johnson's been out for a while. Seth Jones on the blue line out. Jake McCabe on the blue line out for this team. Brandon Hagel as well. Still, they managed to cobble through that and win games. I might have a small bet on Chicago's team total over here, just because I think they could get to 4. We know the Canadiens are a mess defensively, and now they're down to Caden Primo and Samuel Montembeault, that combination in net. So not a game I'll probably get involved with, but if I had to, Chicago team total over 3.5 might be the look for me. Alex, what do you think? Habs, Blackhawks?
Yeah, there's two plays I like here. I like the first period over quite a bit. As you mentioned, no Seth Jones, no Jake McCabe. Still, those guys missing on the blue line. We've seen 8 of the last 10 Hawks games go over in the first period. We saw it sail over last night with that Montreal game, and we saw Jake Allen go down. So now he said Montembeault and Primo. And Primo was in COVID protocol, so they're saying he's not exactly game ready just yet. So it's going to be Montembeault pretty much the whole way, unless he suffers some kind of a serious injury in this one. So I think we see goals here early, and also give me Patrick Kane to score a goal plus 160. He's been quiet, hasn't scored since December 4th, and he's kind of talking to the media about it. I think he's going to come out, kind of pissed off a little bit and try to get a goal here. So give me Showtime plus 160 to score a goal, and give me the Hawks and Habs first period over.
All right, Patrick Kane to score a goal and over 1.5 in the first period, minus 135 here for Alex with Montreal, Chicago. Andrew, Blackhawks hosting the Habs.
I think Montreal can hang around in the first period, so I'm going to take them in the first period. I think it's going to be one of those spots where you can take them live, and Alex's squad will, get it going in the second and third. I don't think the Montreal Canadiens can really win this game by any means. I'll be cheering for them as a fan. But I think I'm going to take them in the first period on the money line, and I do like that over as well that Alex is saying the first period. But if you notice with Montreal, it's never a 60-minute effort. It's either a good 20, a good last 20, a good half a game. They can't play a full complete 60 right now. So after what I saw yesterday in the crappy first, I'm going to predict we get a good first out of them and a crappy third. I know that sounds kind of like, how is he predicting this? But I just feel like from when you have that quick turnaround, sometimes it's almost better than playing 4 games 4 days later. They get to kind of get that quick restart. So unfortunately, I think Alex's team might get the best of mine tonight, but I feel like we might have a good start to the game. And it starts with their defense, but I don't know if they can do it. And look, like I said, the goals Boston scored in the first period yesterday, if you watch that game, it didn't look like a 3-0 period to me. If they're playing Pittsburgh, that's not a 3-0 period. They're playing any defensive team, that's not a 3-0 period. So I think the Montreal can turn it around, but I don't think they can do it in the full game.
Right, definitely interesting to see how that one goes. Ottawa, Calgary. We've got Calgary minus 270, home favorites, 6 the total in this one. Here's another layoff team, another team off a hiatus. Ottawa Senators haven't played since New Year's Day when they were shut out 6-0 by Toronto. What that means. This could be sloppy. This could be bad defensively for them. I worry about all those things tonight. Markstrom and Murray, by the way, confirmed the goaltenders here for this matchup, the Sens and the Flames. Markstrom has been stunningly poor, for the better part of the last month or so. He's given up 4 goals or more in 3 of his last 4 starts. And the most recent start he made against Florida, 6 goals allowed in that game. So he's kind of trended down with his play lately, Markstrom. Definitely is concerning here. Calgary got humbled, to say the least, in that 3-game swing. It was basically a test of their mettle. Tampa, Florida, and Carolina, the 3 heavyweights in the Eastern Conference. They lost all 3 on that road trip. So certainly they'll be looking to bounce back. And Calgary, again, we've talked about it. Their first home games off these road trips, they've been actually playing a little bit better in that situation than maybe some other teams. I don't have much of an opinion on the side. I mean, I don't really trust Ottawa, but I don't think I want to get involved with Calgary at this number. And they've been off now for almost a full week as well. So it's not like they're going to be all that fluid hitting the ice tonight for this game. They've had a little bit of a 6-day layoff as well. So this to me looks like just your standard 2 teams that haven't played in a period of time. Look for some goals, look for some sloppy play. And that's the way I'm going to go here over the total. It's worth noting 3-0-1 to the over the last 4 meetings in Calgary with the Senators and the Flames. And all 4 of those games in Calgary with these two teams head-to-head, the last 4, they've all had 6 goals or more scored in the game. So none of them fewer than 6 goals. I think we see more of the same tonight. Sens Flames for me, over 6. Alex, Ottawa, Calgary.
Yeah, it's not one of my favorite games on the board tonight. I like the over, but I would probably wait and get a better adjusted price. I think we could finally get a 5.5, maybe probably lay 125. But I feel more comfortable kind of taking the 6 out of play and relying on maybe a 4-2 Calgary win or something like that, as opposed to them having to go over 6. Just in case we don't see the offense kind of show up for Ottawa either. Like I said, that kind of a layoff. Yeah, normally the defense will be affected, but with that team, not exactly that they were, shutting down the lights offensively beforehand when they were at full strength. So you kind of want to just wait and see more than anything else. So I'll look for something live adjusted.
All right, maybe looking for a live bet rather than taking it pregame here with this over with the Senators and Flames for Alex. All right, Pittsburgh, Los Angeles. We got the Penguins minus 145, road favorites 5.5 the total in this game. What a return for Evgeny Malkin. How about that for your first game? Season debut the other night for the Penguins. They definitely missed him, and boy, did he welcome himself back to his team the other night against Anaheim. A 4-1 win. He had 2 goals and an assist, 3 points in the victory for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So obviously, and what he will help is, believe it or not, Alex, the Penguins' power play has not been good this year. You would think it would be better, but it really hasn't been. And boy, Evgeny Malkin will certainly fix that and improve that. He's a terrific power play forward. He always has been, and sure enough, he scores one of his goals on the power play in that victory against Anaheim. Chris Otto's talked about it. We got a shout out to him because he's obviously tracking first period, second period, third period totals for every team. Also puck lines, how they're doing. And we know that one of the hottest bets in the NHL right now has been Pittsburgh first period puck line. And that's where I'm going to go in this game. And I bet it late before the Anaheim game started the other night, and it cashed at around plus 165, which is right around the same price you can get with the first period puck line on Pittsburgh tonight. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, it has been a terrific run with the Penguins first period puck lines. I think they get off the hot start, feed on the momentum that they got from that 4-1 win and Malkin's return the other night. So that's the bet for me. I'm not looking full game because I do think LA, you could see them hang around as this game goes on, but Pittsburgh have been fast starters, have been quick starters repeatedly during this recent, 2-week stretch of theirs, and that's probably got a shot to continue itself tonight. So again, you can get Pittsburgh here, first period puck line, -0.5 around plus 165. That's what I'm going to roll with here tonight between the Penguins and the Kings. Alex, what do you like here, Pittsburgh, LA?
Yeah, I just grabbed that myself at plus 165. They've cashed 10 of their last 11 first period puck line. So that's a tremendous value to be getting for a hot run. And that's something that, just like the first period overs before, it's kind of going undetected. And so there's a lot of books that won't make those adjustments properly with first period, puck lines as opposed to full game puck lines. So, like I say, keep track of those and ride them as often as you can. As far as full game, I'm not really sure. Like I said, Pittsburgh's been on a hot roll, and the fact that they're getting off to these good starts, getting off with leads after 20 minutes, that's what's kind of been carrying them along. But being out west, you wonder maybe they could have a bit of a hiccup late in the game. So I just feel more comfortable overall just staying with the first period puck line with Pittsburgh tonight.
All right, liking that first period puck line here. Again, good price, -0.5 plus 165 in the first period for that Penguins puck line. I believe Andrew's back with us there. Audio only at the moment, but that's okay. That's good enough. Andrew, what do you think? Penguins Kings.
Yeah, I got a face for the radio anyway, and got to let the dog out anyway, so no need for the video. Yeah, in this game, actually, I actually think it could be a spot for the Kings. So I'm taking a small little shot here with the Kings money line. It's not a big play, not a main play for me, but I think it could be a spot where they're gonna throw people off a little bit, and I like the under in this game. I like the under between these two. I think we're going to see a lower scoring battle here.
All right, final game on this Thursday card, a loaded card, big show. We figured it would be over an hour. It is. That's okay. 11 games, the whole crew back I'd go 2 hours if we could, with having everybody back on this big card. It's been a great show. We wrap it up with the New York Rangers and the San Jose Sharks. Rangers -130 road favorites, 5.5 the total in this game, and that's a reason why don't count out the Kings against Pittsburgh tonight, because we just saw the LA Kings notch a very impressive win the other night against the New York Rangers, 3-1. And the Kings have played some better hockey at home. The Rangers, meanwhile, will be looking to bounce back from that 3-1 loss to the LA Kings here as they complete the Western, or California rather, portion of this road trip. They got a weird schedule, the Rangers, where they're in San Jose tonight, then they go play in Philly on Saturday, and then they're for one road game in the East before they finally get back home to Madison Square Garden. So a little bit of an odd scheduling dynamic there. I think they did this with Carolina recently as well. I remember they were on the West Coast, and they actually went to Philly on a Friday game after Thanksgiving, and then they went home, Carolina. So kind of the same thing in terms of the schedule, the way it's laying out here for the Rangers in this one. The Rangers, of course, will be looking to bounce back. I kind of like the Rangers here, and I'm going to bet the Rangers if we're hearing that Igor Shesterkin plays, and we're starting to think he might, because he's been removed from COVID protocol in time for this game. So Shesterkin could be back here for the Rangers, and if that's the case, off a loss, -130 is the price we're looking at. I certainly think that's a reasonable, fair price, a moderate price, a good enough one to get involved with the Rangers here. They're better than San Jose in my mind, even though the Sharks have won 3 in a row. Buffalo, Philly, Detroit. I mean, are we really going to start, getting the pom-poms out and waving them for San Jose winning those 3 games? I'm not so sure about that. Not a really quality win in that mix. And then the wins before that they had, Philly again, and then Arizona right after the Christmas break. So not a single win against a quality team in these last 5 wins for the San Jose Sharks. So I think we're going to see Shesterkin. If we do, be looking at the Rangers here, -130 in this game. Alex, what do you think here? New York, San Jose.
I gotta lean toward the over here at 5.5, and things that need to be kind of put in line right now for the Rangers, having a bit of some struggles, and we expect to see that. Obviously, they're still a good team, still I think one of the quality contenders in the East, but they just kind of just having those moments, especially going out west, you can possibly see them laying egg, getting closer to the end of this road trip. If I had to take a side, I probably would look at the Sharks. Won 3 in a row, and they're just one of those teams. This is one of those games I think for them it's a big kind of test, more so to see, hey, are we truly a contender or not? That question's being floated around. They're hanging around in the mix in the Pacific, but if they can get a win at home against a Ranger team that's kind of going through some issues, and like I said, depending on who's in net for them as well, that could be a really big statement for them. So I think this could be a spirited game. We see goals back and forth. So I go with the over 5.5.
All right, Alex, like an over 5.5 here in this one. And I know Andrew likes this game because he said this yesterday on the show. He said one of the ones that stuck out was that over with the Rangers and the Sharks, saying it's the Rangers at the end of this West Coast road trip. And those have been historically good trending bets to the over in terms of these Eastern teams finishing off a Western road trip, that you get that little bit more of a loose environment, a little bit more sloppy play, just a little bit loose. I think fatigue, maybe excitement to get closer back to home, and the result has been higher scoring games. So he mentioned that right on yesterday's show, Andrew. Rangers and Sharks over 5.5. I assume you still like that, don't you?
I do still like it. It's a good situation I like, and I also, this situation really applies when the team that is on the road is off a loss. New York only had 1 goal against LA in that game. They did not look that great in that one. I think they bounced back. Shesterkin or not, I think we see goals. In San Jose, I get it, Ian. I like the pom-pom reference there, but they have had some wins. And to me, in those wins, there should have been 3 or 4 more goals, because I think back to last game, I think Timo Meier might have broken the record for the amount of times one player hit the post in a game. These guys, the Sharks are surprising me with the amount of chances they're creating. I think we see a goal fest here tonight. We're seeing 5.5 opened up at -110. Now we're seeing upwards of -120 at some shops here. I think we see a goal fest here.
All right, like an over 5.5. And I'll tell you what, the over series history, with at least in San Jose, is on your side here. 4-0-1 to the over last 5 in San Jose with the Rangers and the Sharks. Rangers, by the way, have won 6 straight against the Sharks, and if Shesterkin's in net, they've clearly got an edge over Aiden Hill with him in net. So I like the Rangers too. And I'm certainly not going to argue with what Alex and Andrew are saying about the over. Definitely think it's situationally, it makes some sense here looking over the total. And again, 4-0-1 to the over, the last 5 in San Jose between the Rangers and the Sharks as well. Thanks to everybody for joining us, and thanks to everyone on YouTube. Over 200 live viewers on YouTube for our show today. We appreciate it very much. Hit the like button. It helps us out quite a bit, so make sure you hit that like button on YouTube if you're watching, if you haven't done so already. Great show. Great to have the entire crew on the show, at least for a period of time earlier on. I know Jimmy had to leave early, but it was great to have everybody back, including, of course, Alex B. Smith, that we've missed him, and great to have Alex back on the Ice Guys today. All right, with Alex back for the first time, we're going to start with him for best bets for this Thursday card. Alex, what do you like for best bet?
Well, I'm physically back here in Minnesota, but we're going to go back to the west side of Chicago for the best bet. I'm going to go with the Hawks and the Habs first period over 1.5. You can get that at as low as minus $1.10 or minus $1.15. So I think we'll see some goals there early with the Hawks and Montreal.
All right, Montreal, Chicago. There you go. First period over, minus 110. Best bet for Alex B. Smith. John's got the right idea. 200 people watching, but only 9 likes. Come on, change that. Hit that like button. We appreciate that very much. Hey, we're here 7 days a week for you, every single day, breaking down every single game. That's worth a like right there, all by itself. Andrew, you're next up. What do you like for best bet for Thursday?
I'm gonna go with Jimmy on that Winnipeg team total. I also like that over we just talked about. I like that Winnipeg team total quite a bit as well.
All right, Winnipeg team total again, over 2.5 with that right now, currently around minus 150 to minus 155 is what most books have that at right now. The team total for the Winnipeg Jets against Detroit. Best bet for Andrew McInnis in this one. My best bet for this card, I'm going to go with Columbus, Carolina over 6 minus 120. Again, I've had a lot of Columbus games over the total recently, and don't underestimate the Jackets. Offensively, maybe being able to do something here. Carolina hasn't exactly been shutting teams down, and Jacob Slavin missing tonight for the Hurricanes. That's one of their best defensemen, probably their best defenseman, and one of their absolute best shutdown, stay-at-home, good in his own zone defenseman. He will not play tonight for Carolina, so I think you'll see goals both ways. Columbus, Carolina over 6, minus 120 for my best bet for this Thursday card. And that'll wrap up this edition of the Ice Guys. Thanks to everyone for joining us on YouTube. A reminder, the Ice Guys is live 7 days a week, Monday to Friday, 2 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday, noon Eastern. And if you can't watch the show live, download the Ice Guys podcast in audio form on all major podcast platforms: Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and iHeartRadio. Download the Ice Guys podcast whenever you can't watch the show live. For Alex B. Smith, Andrew McInnis, and Jimmy Murphy, I'm Ian Cameron. Have a great Thursday night. Enjoy the games and good luck. And we will talk to you again tomorrow on Friday for another edition of the Ice Guys presented by the Hockey Podcast Network.